about a year ago, you came on this show and you were promoting mayonnaise around the Super Bowl, and this thing got fast-tracked in about less than 1 year. How anxious are you to get going at this thing? Seriously. I mean, it happened quick.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would say, I started working, once it was announced, I kind of started working on a bunch of stuff, but it happened very fast. I'm excited. I'm excited to just get busy, get the coaching staff put together, make sure we're squared away. And honestly, right now it's about communication too, from a leadership standpoint. I just want everyone to know exactly what they have to do, and that's some of the things I'll be working on coming up shortly.
So we heard you in the press conference get asked about defensive coordinator and special teams, and then off of that, offensive coordinator. But with any coaching position and assembling the staff and getting it settled, what's your timeline on wanting to try and get these things accomplished?
Man, ASAP. And once again, everyone, they say, well, you haven't been a coordinator. At the end of the day, like, titles aren't that important. But some of the coaches think titles are important, but I want to knock that out of the park early and get running. You got to think about the combine, the draft, the All-Star games, things like that. I think it's important to kind of knock it out soon.
Jerod, there's been some criticism, from keeping everything rolling, from, the guys that do the scouting, and we know how hard those guys work and the amount of film and, how you have to crunch. But don't you kind of have to keep this thing rolling as to the people that did the studying for free agency and the combine that you mentioned, as this thing's going to get going here?
Yeah. I think you make a great point. Like, some of these guys have been working on what we talked about, free agency and the draft, for a long time, and you want to continue to lean on those guys. And honestly, as the head coach here, obviously there will be some changes, but at the same time, some things won't change, right? And we'll have the people that we need to get the job done, whether it's from internal or external.
Jerod, when did you know that this was going to end up here today with you being introduced as head coach? At what point did you start to realize this is where this offseason was going to go?
Well, I never thought, there was never a timeline. There was never a timeline in our talks as far as, ownership and myself. It was more like, when it does happen, it's going to happen fast, which you guys kind of alluded to. And, I just continued to try to develop and lean on people and try to learn as much as I could from a holistic standpoint, not just defense, but how things work. So I was able to use, that time to really develop as, a head coach. Now, obviously, it's not all going to be good. It's not all going to be perfect. But at the end of the day, you have to make some mistakes to learn. And that's kind of how I approach it.
I thought you had a great answer, when people questioned whether you rub people the wrong way inside. And you said, hey, man, from a leadership standpoint, I'm going to rub people the wrong way. Is that something you really took from Bill, too? Because Bill rubbed people the wrong way. We know the criticisms out there. I played for him. You played for him.
Look,
he's a tough guy.
He had great success doing it.
Yeah.
And but honestly, hold on. Yeah. Sorry, that was Nikovic. He messes up interviews. But
is he linebackers coach? Well, hold on. Is he linebackers coach?
Hey, no, he's not the linebackers coach. He's more of a long snapper. He's a long snapper in my books. All right, what were we talking about? Sorry, I gotta get back on.
Robbing people the wrong way.
Yeah, just like, hey, you gotta be a tough leader.
You know the thing about it, if you want things to change, you have to change things up. And so, it doesn't make sense just pounding your fist against the wall, work hard. No, we need to change things up. And honestly, that, I think I talked about this already. That report kind of shocked me a little bit. But at the same time, you got to have thick skin, right? You got to have thick skin and try to improve. I'm a huge believer in feedback, and hopefully you guys give me feedback at some point in time. I think I look at all these as long-term relationships, and if we can't give each other honest and open feedback in the building, outside the building, then we'll just keep messing up. So that's how I kind of look at it.
We've seen a lot of positive reaction from players on social media. Have you spoken to players directly since this was announced?
A few players were here today, but I haven't had a chance to really reach out the way I want to do it. So I do think communication is vital.
Is the toughest thing moving forward, you being a defensive guy and how good your defense has been, since you've been here and you've been working with Steve from that side of the ball, that, I got to trust offensive guys. How much have you learned about offense, meaning, since you started coaching here?
Yeah, look, one thing about me is I'm not an offensive coordinator. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know everything. But what I will say is as we have, watched a ton of film, offensively and defensively, you know what you like, and I think about the game in space, which is a little bit different, right? A lot of people think about it in X's and O's. I think about the game in space, and hopefully, once we settle down with the staff, we get to a point where like I may add a little bit, like, hey, this space right here or this matchup is important, but at the same time, as a first-year head coach, just like you said, you got to have a good support staff, and that's what we want to do.
Jerod, speaking of defense, you had an answer in the press conference. I'm wondering if you could expand on it. It was about how this has typically been a game plan team over the years. Were you sort of indicating that maybe you're a little less of a game plan team and more, at times, one of those teams that does what you feel best about doing on defense?
Yeah, look, we'll remain the same, and I also think that philosophy should carry over into the other parts of the building. Like, of course, we'll have just our general stuff, but there are times where you got to change things up. Now, some of these teams, they run the same play over and over again, and they know how offenses are going to attack them, which is a good thing. On the other end, because we are so multiple, sometimes we may be a little slower on making adjustments because our front or coverage has been different. And, in my mind right now, once again, it's very early. I would say, we will remain a game plan team going forward. We don't even know like who's going to be on the team. So it's a lot. It's a lot.
Have you picked your personal assistant yet? Have you picked your Bears?
Hey, no, I thought you were coming back.
We had to do the TV. I mean, if you do need a quarterback coach / TV guy / radio guy during the week.
A quarterback coach.
I'll be like Ninkovich. We come in once a week.
All right, perfect. Hey, perfect. Let's do it.
All right,
Jerod. Well, congratulations again, and hopefully we get a chance to talk to you again soon.
Enjoy time with your family.
Sounds good.